the weakness of a squares complex. And we're going to analyze 2 game fragments and 1 exercise. So this is the puzzle for you. So how to play in this position to be able to get a better position. So try to find the best move here for white. Okay, I can give the microphone for those who wants. For example, Vadim, you may say something. Your microphone is works, I think.
Hello.
Oh yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just wait for more attendees to come, and please solve the puzzle of you. I know you missed our last webinar, so you can just find the best move here for white. What white should do to be able to get a strong pawn center and just improve his position. Michael, I also turned your microphone on so that you also may suggest the lines by voice.
Working?
Okay. What ideas? Oh, yes, Michael, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
So, guys,
sorry, I had trouble logging on, so a little late.
Okay, I see. Now it works fine. So,
Okay.
what ideas do you have in this position? What white should do?
It's bad. It's bad.
Can you repeat it?
The light square bishop, white square bishop, is blocked by the pawns.
You mean the e4? Oh, you mean this bishop on g2 is blocked by these 2 pawns?
Yes.
But at the same time, it supports the center. So what? Okay. Anyway, what do you think you should do to improve white's position?
Well, of course, I think I would like to move the e pawn forward, or try to gain a little more space in the center. And
yes,
I like the position of his knight very much. He's useless.
So, Michael,
maybe I need to move my knight to e3, or yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, and you are absolutely right with your intention to play e5 somehow. But after knight d3, if you play this move, you should analyze these 2 moves: e takes f4 and f takes e4. Now, let's start with f takes e4 first. How to deal with this move?
I think it'll be a little dangerous for the bishop, because if I take back, then obviously he's going to take the f pawn right away, and my bishop has to move. He can win another pawn, maybe winning the g pawn. So either I have to move my bishop to h3 and exchange bishops, or I need to put more support, maybe move the rook to the e file. But
So
again, that leaves my that means my G pawn has to retake, which is not good.
okay, you mean you don't want to play knight d3 right now? You want to prepare this move first, or you play knight d3 and then? Oh, can you
Well,
just
if
suggest
he
some
takes,
concrete moves?
if he takes there, I'm fine because I would just take back on e5 with the knight and block the support of the pawn, and then take the pawn when I like.
Yeah, this is actually one of the ideas of knight d3 move. You take on e5 with your knight,
Right.
and the pawn on e4 becomes a weakness. He has only his bishop to move to f5 to protect the pawn, but you can use your rook, queen, and you can still take on e4, winning the pawn.
And if he takes on f4, that's fine also because my knight's in a good position to retake. I can take with the rook and or with the knight. I think I would probably take with the knight.
Mm. Vadim, what's your opinion about the move in this position? So what do we have? What options we have? A rook f4, knight f4.
I would take with it because then the knight is attacking 4 squares in the opponent's position, and it has a very good square. But if I take with the knight, then he takes my e pawn with his pawn.
Yes, you lose the e pawn. Maybe you can gain it back. Okay, I see. But maybe you guys can find a better move in this position rather than just taking the f pawn.
Maybe just push.
Exactly.
E5.
Yes, and after this move, you just recapture, and then you have a strong pawn center that it's more than a compensation for the sacrifice pawn. E6, d6, and you almost win the position. Okay, yeah, that was the idea of this exercise. Okay. Just wait a second. I'm going to open another position. Okay, we are going to, let's flip the board. We are going to analyze the fragment from the game between Akiba Rubinstein and Rudolf Spielman. It's black to move. You may also notice that a few squares in the enemy camp are weak. Which move would you suggest in this position?
Well, of course, f5 jumps out because it would force the rook to move. But I'm trying to see if that's the best idea.
You mean f5 with the pawn to force the bishop to move?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I want him. Of course, I would like him to be located somewhere else.
What about what?
What about knight f5? What about knight f5?
Knight f5 is much better, actually, because f5 with the pawn totally restricts your bishop.
Yeah, that's true.
So knight f5 is better, but first bishop d4 check to get the king off, and at the same time to get one more square from the enemy bishop, king h1, and then knight f5 is played. What are we threatening with knight f5 move?
Fork. But...
Knight g3, right?
Or check, yeah. That's even
Yeah,
better.
Yeah.
to open up the H file.
Oh, okay, what if he plays knight e2 in this position to secure g3 square? How would we play?
I would, well, trying to lead to an exchange of bishops. And then maybe you'd have to reposition the knight. But there's probably something much better.
You mean bishop e3? It's a useless move because he takes on f5 and then your bishop is hanging.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, actually, after knight e2, we may play knight g3 check, and knight e2 is a useless. Again, it doesn't defend the g3 square. So here, if
What
he
if he takes it?
yeah, if he takes with the pawn, it's over. But if he takes with the knight, we take, and then we are threatening to give a checkmate. The only way is to
What if he
play,
pushes?
yeah, h3, and then we sacrifice the bishop on h3. Check. King f3. And how would you play in this position?
G2?
Oh, g2 works as well. However, queen h4, this is the best move. You are threatening with queen h5, then he takes, and queen h3, this is a checkmate. G2 can be played. It's another good move, and maybe if he somehow defends, actually I don't see any defense. So maybe bishop moves to get the king to e4, but then f5 at least can be played. Okay, so black is winning here. Actually, knight e2 didn't really protect the g2 square, and that's why here the only move is to take on f5. Then, of course, the bishop f5.
We got the bishop pair.
Ah, bishop pair, right?
We got the bishop pair.
Uh-huh. Okay, rook e1 was played, but it's a kind of inaccuracy. H3 should be played because this move stops the attack, but at the same time it weakens the g3 square. However, it's not easy to use this weakness while we have no knight on the board. So h3, this is what white should play, and it black is still better, but at least it could help white to defend his position. He played rook
Spielman
e1.
is black.
Right?
Spielman is black?
Yeah, Spielman is black.
Okay.
After rook e1, how would you play?
I guess king f8 makes sense.
Yeah, king f8. I think it's almost the only. Yeah, it's the only move actually. It doesn't make sense to castle because we need our rook on the h file where we want to continue the attack. Okay. Then
king d7 to get my.
So you mean to get two rooks connected?
Yes.
Well, that makes sense, but I believe in the center this king can be the object of the attack. So, and here you imagine you can move to g7 and it's fine. So just one more extra temper and your king will be safe in almost every position that can happen later. So king f8. Queen f3 was played by white. However, what if bishop e3? How to play for black now?
think I would take it to maintain. Otherwise you lose a pawn.
So take the bishop. How to improve your position then?
Well, either take the bishop or take the knight.
Oh,
If I take the knight, I double his pawns, but...
Oh, yeah, please choose which one is better. Take the bishop and take the knight. You can also have queen f6 move, but I doubt it works because he takes, pawn takes, knight e4.
I guess taking the knight...
If I take that has drawings if we get into the game.
So here, yeah, so bishop c3 works. Pawn takes, and then we get the position. Okay, let's make it 2 more moves. h3, g3, otherwise we ruin his pawn structure. Then bishop e4, and queen comes to f6. Actually, we got the position with bishops of opposite color. And if, for example, we trade all the pieces, it's likely to be a draw. Oh, all the pieces except the bishops, or maybe a rook pair. But when we attack, our light squared bishop doesn't have the opponent. That means that we almost have an extra piece. He can't cover these light squares with any of his pieces. Oh, just remember for your future games, maybe when you decide to get the position with the opposite colored bishops or not, or if you eventually got such positions, then you should focus on the attack, because this is where you can exploit the advantage of opposite bishops.
He also has all of his dark square pawns on, all of his king pawns on dark squares.
His bishop on e3. Okay, so bishop a3 was a possible move, but what else? h3 should be played. If h3, then we can do almost the same thing and then play queen d7 with the idea to sacrifice on h3. He plays queen f3. What do you think we should do?
Get the king out of the way, put him on g7.
And then get the rook to the e file. That makes sense. That makes sense. However, we can do it anytime we want. It's better to start attacking his weaknesses. And then, yes, we can play king g7 and rook e8, like Vadim mentioned. Or we can play queen c2, attacking on c3. I would recommend to start with queen c2 and then do king g7 and rook e8 in case if he finds a way to protect all his weaknesses. Okay, so anyway, bishop e3 was better, but instead queen f3 was played here. How to continue for black?
Queen f6.
Queen f6, and what then?
And then try to... Actually, I think h3 might work.
Yes, it's h3, forcing him to play with the g pawn. Actually, g4 is a blunder.
There's queen h4.
Yeah, queen h4 I taken. the rook and pawn, and rook g1 cannot be played. Okay, so that's why g3 was played in the game. And how to exploit white weaknesses. Think about the plan, or at least a move that can help us to exploit the weaknesses in his camp.
Maybe I keep looking at queen f6, but
Well, here you may notice that by playing g3, he weakens light squares. So these squares are weak. Maybe these two.
I'm thinking of queen d7.
Queen d7, right. At least this complex of squares is weak, and we may threaten with bishop g4. So here, bishop d2, bishop g4. Looks like he doesn't have many squares to move. Or maybe queen e4 can be played. If queen e4, just maybe rook king g7 with the idea to get the rook to e8. It should be fine. But what if queen d3? How would you play? His king is very weak now. How to exploit his weakness? King's weakness.
Get the rook on the a rook in the game.
By playing rook a e8 immediately.
No, first king g7.
Well, king g7. Okay, king g7 first, then rook e8. He may trade a rook pair, then offer another rook to trade. We have a better move that can finish the game in a few moves, actually.
maybe bishop f2
Bishop f2
doesn't really do anything.
Bishop f2, maybe rook f1, attacking the bishop.
Sacrifice.
Okay, actually, it's queen f5 move.
Oh, what?
Queen f5. I offer a queen straight, and if he takes, I want to play
because
bishop
he
f3.
can't take it. Yeah, because he can't take it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, he would play maybe something like rook e4, then king g7, and rook e8.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay.
Wow.
So queen f1 was played instead in the game. Still queen f5. Rook ac1, rook ac1 because white stops black from playing queen to c2. King g7. Bishop to e3. Okay, here is the question. Does bishop takes on c3 make any sense for black right now?
I think it would help him because he could bring that rook up.
So it's helpful for
he
white.
can also bring his... He can check with the queen as well if he takes the knight. And then get the bishop to f3.
And what then? So bishop comes to f3, but there is nothing concrete. Moreover, you may blunder something like bishop c5, and this discovered the attack when you check with your queen on e4. So for example, bishop c3, rook c3, queen e4 check, king g1, then you set bishop f3. What if I just take here on c5? Your queen is hanging. Now it's white who is winning. So no, it doesn't make sense to take on c3. That's why black played bishop to f6. So it's better to keep a bishop pair rather than just trade this bishop for a knight. Moreover, we can do it anytime we want. Okay, white played with b3. Rook h to e8. Oh, actually, there is no much difference between which rook to play with to e8, the a or h. Oh, black decided with the h rook because the h3 pawn is well protected, and we no longer need our rook on the h file.
And also the h file is closed.
Right. Bishop f2. This is a critical mistake by white. How to continue?
Well, now you can check him, but
you check him with your bishop. He
I'm
goes
not
to
sure
g1.
Wait. Does it help?
Oh, how to play then? Maybe it works
Okay.
if you.
What if I take the knight first and take away his defense with one of the rooks?
And how it helps?
Oh, I get it. And then you take his rook.
Rook e1 now?
So you take the knight first, and then you take his rook.
Okay, bishop c3, rook c3, then you take on e1. He probably takes with his queen. What then?
Maybe the move order is wrong.
No, it's not about the move order, it's about the idea. So you were absolutely right about bishop f3. But then you didn't notice that his queen is trapped. So that we just play bishop g2.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's not the end because rook e8 can be played.
Right.
And if we take the queen, what we exactly should do, then he takes the other rook. And this is for a queen. How to proceed then?
Kind of dangerous now. He has well.
I don't know. In my games, I usually find success more often with a queen than two rooks.
Yeah, for me it happens more often. I mean, I win with the queen against any other material more often. But on a higher level, I think two rooks can be similar to a queen.
All right, so you can either retreat the bishop to g2 and then maybe we can protect him with the queen. You can be in a better position. And then exchange the dark squared bishops and try to mate him this way.
I see.
So
okay.
If the queen goes to d3 to protect him, he can't attack the queen. Then if the bishop comes over, he either has to exchange on d4 or on f2.
Okay, here the idea is more concrete.
Okay.
Yeah, bishop g2 is a good move, generally speaking. But there is a better move that was played in the game, Queen d3, with the idea to play Queen f3. I can show you. For example, Rook takes on f1, Queen f3. No defense against Queen g2. And here we are threatening the knight on c3. However, we could play bishop c3 immediately. Then, for example, if Rook f1, if Rook f1, then just Queen e4. Queen e4 here, threatening a checkmate again, no defense. If King f1, then Queen d3 check, King goes to g1, and Queen f3 with the same idea to deliver a checkmate. He has to go back. But then Bishop d4, threatening to take on f2 with a checkmate. The only way to protect this bishop is to play Rook c2. But then Queen d1. And then we checkmate with our queen to g2.
What happened in the game?
Oh, yeah, just wait a second. Okay, what happened in the game? Queen d3 happened. And then Rook e8. With the idea that if queen moves to f3, he can take on f1 with his king. Okay, what do you think? What if we play bishop takes on c3 right now? Does it make sense? Oh, looks like the move that wins a piece.
He can go rook to e3.
Yeah, rook e3. So bishop c3, rook to e3, and then we are in trouble. No, at least he saved his position. So that's why here we just continue with queen f3 move. King takes on f1, the only move. Check. Bishop g1. Oh, if he moves king e2, we just take his rook on c1. So he plays with his bishop. But then queen g2, king escapes, check. Queen h2, knight e2. Oh, it's almost over. We took the h pawn. We now have a plus pawn on h3. Queen g2 was played with the idea to promote. And white played rook g1. After the next move played by black, white resigned. So what was the next move?
H2?
H2, you sacrifice your queen. Of course, you promote another queen, but does it make sense to sacrifice one?
The rook first, then play H2.
Yeah, queen takes on g1. Knight g1 and then h2, and nobody can stop the pawn. The h8 square is covered by the rook, or by the king, so rook cannot get there. This is how Spielman won the game. Okay, let's go back to the main moment of the game. I think this moment was a critical moment of the game.
Spielman versus Bronstein?
Rubinstein.
Oh, Rubinstein.
My friend will join right now. He's a little late.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so this is the key moment where black created a weakness, like a complex of squares became weak, all light squares. And the main idea is that white doesn't have a light squared bishop to cover these weaknesses. So that we use our queen and bishop to penetrate into his camp with queen d7, bishop g4, and so on. Queen f5 then.
I think I need to look at dark and light square strategies a lot more, because I don't think in terms of dark and light squares enough. Usually I'm just looking for tactics or looking for small advantages. But Interesting.
Well, yes, of course, chess is a concrete game, so you should be always looking for some concrete combinations, blunders, tactics, so on. But if there is nothing like this, then you should think how to play positionally, how to improve your pieces, how to make weaknesses in his camp, and then how to exploit them. Okay, actually, I hear some additional noise. Can you? Okay,
Like a
Vadim, I think it's your my. Yeah, it's scraping. Oh, now it's much better. Okay.
Plus, we have washing machines in the back. I can hear washing machines in the background. They're on.
Uh-huh. No, now it becomes.
I'll close the door.
Okay. Yes, please.
No washing machines here.
Okay. Okay, I see. So, yeah, let's analyze the second game, Fragment.
Be better now.
Yes, it is. It's better.
So when are you going to start charging for these webinars?
Uh, I don't know. Not in the nearest future.
When you have more students first?
Oh, actually, I want to keep these webinars free, and for a small group of people, I want to conduct just another session per week. That will be that I would charge for. As for webinars on Sunday, I want them to be free. Okay, just wait a second.
My friend is still joining. I don't know where he is right now. He's supposed to join right now.
Okay, you can ask him if he experiences some difficulties.
Okay.
Okay, just wait a second. I'm sharing the screen. Open in a browser.
Oh, yeah. If you have that Checkmates course, if you can send it to me, whatever
Okay.
whatever price you want. I don't remember what the price was on chess.net.
Okay, we will discuss it a little bit later.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I shared the screen. I hope you see the position.
Yes.
Okay, and the first question is, what is a typical plan for such positions? So you're here are playing with white pieces. How would you play? What would you like to do, and what you think will work?
I would like to get rid of that bishop. Like maybe exchange that bishop, but
which bishops? On h6. I see.
I think I'll first push the G and H pawn because white is going to get to the G6 pawn first before black's going to get to the G2 pawn because it's advanced. And then after I push my G and H pawn, I'll exchange bishops. That's what I think.
Okay, I see. Michael, do you agree?
So he wants to push.
No, H and G pawns, and
yeah, we're white, right?
yeah, we are white. So H, G, then h5, then trade, and then play bishop h6. No, it sounds reasonable, but would it work?
And then I think after I move my queen to h6, I would push g5 to get rid of that knight.
But then he plays knight h5, blocking the h file. And if there is no concrete sacrifice, like rook takes on h5, then you can stuck there. Okay, guys. So the plan that Vadim suggested is, I would say, it's good in a closed position. For example, white pawn to d5 and the black pawn to d6, I would say yes. This is a good plan. The position is closed. Black can't find any counterplay here. But in the open position, we should focus on more positional play. Oh, of course, if there is nothing concrete. So that the first move that was played by white, actually, it's a game between Efim Geller and Isaac Boleslavsky. So it was c5 to cover these two squares, d6 and b6. Knight
f5. My friend says he has trouble joining. He said that it says that said that the age is unresponsive.
What? Age?
That's what he wrote me. I don't know if it's a typo or what.
Oh, did you send him the last link that I provided you?
Yes.
And when he clicks
His
on
name
it,
is Maxim.
So he is probably from former Soviet Union.
I think he has to, sometimes when you click on the link, it takes you to the registration page. So maybe, here comes somebody.
No, it's not him. It's my student Natalia.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's easier actually. Just tell him to go to the main website, just Google Click Meeting, then join webinar, and then put the number of the webinar in there, and then do it this way.
No, actually, I think the easiest way is just to click to this link, which I can publish it here in the chat. So, Vadim, do you see? You can just transfer this link to him. No, I can. I can always edit.
Okay, so copy
like
link address.
Yeah, just copy the link address and then send it to him. Let him ask him to click.
Okay.
Oh, he joined. So.
Oh, okay, he did. Okay.
Okay, Maxim, I turned your microphone on. If your microphone is connected, you may say something. Oh, he joined twice.
So, c5, did he play c5 to bring the... Why did he play c5?
c5 to control these two squares, b6 and d6. So our webinar is about weaknesses in the enemy camp. And here, like two squares is a kind of a complex. Okay, guys, I turn on all the microphones of all participants we have. It should work. Please try.
Maxine, you should there's like on my computer, I can see if I put my mouse over the screen where the cam is, like the video cam, it has a microphone on it. And if it's red, then you just press it.
Okay, I hope there is a cogwheel, and when you click on it, you may notice settings. And you should also click on the sign of your microphone, because automatically it's muted. Okay. Max, can you say something?
I'm trying to. 1 second, it's just loading.
Okay, anyway, guys, let's continue. So knight f8. Then white played queen d6. And if queen takes queen, then we take with the rook, because we still need the pawn here to control the b6 square, as well as to support the rook on d6. So that we may use our rook on the d6 square like an outpost. Okay. What happened in the game? Knight e6 was played. Bishop c4 to activate the bishop and to keep this the idea to take on e6 maybe. Then bishop f8 was played, and what do you think? What should we do now?
Exchange.
Yeah, exchange. It's the only move, I think. It doesn't make sense to retreat. If we retreat, he can start with knight f4. So we take on c7, knight c7, and this is the key moment of the game. How would you play as white? So yes, these squares are weak, but what should you do?
I would try to put
It's
a
hard
knight
to
on
get to them.
g3.
g3 with a pawn?
Maybe put a knight on g3. If you can.
Knight on g3. And okay, let's this knight e2 g3. This is what you suggest.
Sorry, not g. I didn't mean g3. I meant I play as black so often. Maybe I meant
B6?
b6.
b6. How to get your knight to b6?
You have to go a4 to b6. But
I agree with you. So your task is to occupy these two squares with your knights. So just imagine that you have one knight on b6, the other one on d6, and how good your position is. That's why knight a5 first, to get this knight to c4, then to d6. Rook b8. Then knight a4. Then maybe black made not the best move. He played bishop e6. And what do you think? What should you do?
I think you should exchange, because then you can put your knight on c4 one move quicker.
That's right. Knight c4, then one comes to b6, the other one goes to d6. Knight c7, knight a to b6, then he goes back, the pawn. What should we do?
I guess you can play, well, if you play b4, he may play a5, but you just take with the knight.
Yeah, if b4, then a5 doesn't work for black. Instead of b4, do you have any other suggestions?
Oh, I think I'm thinking of knight to d7 to get, because if he has to take, and then my rook is on the 7th file.
On the 7th rank, but then you lose your c5 pawn.
Fine, like,
He has two attackers, his knight and bishop.
then knight to d6.
Knight d6 is not a good move. Then rook e d8, and then he wants to trade it by playing knight e8. Actually, Michael was right about b4 in this position. So instead of knight d6, just push the pawn to support on c5 first. Actually, okay, knight f4 was played here. He is attacking on g2. Can you please answer if knight takes on e5 works in this position or not? No, the idea is that if he takes, we take with on f4 with our bishop, and this is how we win a pawn, and also the exchange. So does knight e5 work or not? Or
I think if I take, he'll just take my pawn. If I take his pawn, he'll take my pawn.
Yeah, exactly. Then bishop g7. And of course, white is better, but it's better to avoid these complications. So instead of taking on e5, we can just play rook d2. And then we are threatening to take on e5. Rook d8. Rook h to d1. Black traded a rook pair. Bishop g7. Okay, another critical moment of the game. What is white's plan?
Well, if white wants to put that knight on d6,
No. Okay, if we play knight d6, the b7 pawn is hanging. He is likely to play maybe rook b8. Just what then?
well, that's good.
If then the knight is blocking our rook from penetrating.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's why I don't want you to play knight d6.
Maybe the rook.
Can you apply? A rook has to come, but how?
Rook to d6.
What's the idea of rook d6 move? You blunder on g2.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I think I might know. I think we go knight. Or no, because I first would push his knight out the way with g3, then go knight to d2, or do d7, then go knight to d7 to try to get your rook on the 7th rank.
But okay, I see. So g3, knight goes to where e6.
Maybe knight d7 works.
Knight d7. Okay, actually, why not knight d7 now? Because the pawn on g2 is hanging. But maybe it still works. So Vadim suggests g3 first. Knight goes anywhere. Let's say maybe h5. Then knight d7. But instead of taking this knight, black can just play rook e7 and cover the weaknesses on the 7th rank.
How about g4?
G4? What's the idea of G4?
To play g5 and move that knight.
H6, H4, G5.
Okay. Too close.
Okay.
I think G4 gives. I thought G4 gives a good outpost for black on F4.
Yes, you're right. So here, knight d7, that's a possible idea. For example, knight g2. So this is what you guys and Natalia suggested. Then what? Rook b7. And then these two pawns are weaknesses. White is better, but it's not the best plan. What the best plan is? Instead of doing it, and instead of playing knight d6, what looks logical but blocks our rook, we may play knight a5 with the similar idea to get this pawn. Then he replies with rook b8. Now we take, because we don't want the pawn on g2 to be hanging, and then we play knight d7. If he takes, we take with our rook, and he loses the pawn on b7 anyway. Or on c6, any one of these two. For example, b6, knight c6. He moves the rook, then he loses the other pawn. White wins. That's why in this position, instead of taking on d7, he played rook d8. So we have a pin. The only way to play is knight f6 with a check. Bishop f6, his rook is protected. And what do you think? Does it make sense to trade the rooks?
Why not trade on d6? Move the rook to d6 first, then we have a passed pawn.
I see, but after rook d6, bishop e7 can be played.
We can take with the knight on d7 and defend it. Or then I have.
I see.
Pawns.
So bishop e7, then knight b7. That makes sense, because if now bishop takes on d6, we can just take his rook. And if rook takes on d6, like this, then pawn takes, and then we promote. Okay, that makes sense. Rook d6 looks good. However, just king g7. Then knight b7 can be played. Okay, that makes sense. However, white, actually, yes, Michael, you are even better than Isaac Boleslavsky.
Wow.
So, yes, bishop d6, rook d6 is a better move. Rook d8 was played in the game. It's still a winning position. Okay, bishop c7. And then how to win this in game, which plan to apply. We are one pawn up, but it's not obvious how to win.
Centralize the king.
I think, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So centralize the king first, but how to deal with our knight? Can we escape?
Well, bishops are good at keeping the knights trapped.
If we play knight a5, of course the bishop captures on a5, and then we lose the advantage of extra pawn, because we have double pawns on the a file. So knight a5 doesn't work. I'm not sure about knight d6, because his king is too close to d6.
That's why I would bring up the king first to help.
Okay, so king c2, king f8. Then what? King d3?
Yeah, try to stay on the light squares.
Okay, actually knight d6 was played in the game. It's better. Okay, please tell me, does bishop d6 work? I mean, can black win a pawn back by trading on d6 and then getting the king closer?
I don't think so. The e-pawn can.
We always have the resource of pushing e5, but he might take the knight. We take, and then he's f6.
Right. How to deal with this move?
Oh, we get their king first to c4. to c5, I mean. So if he pushes f6, we just move our king up.
Okay, right. So bishop d6, c takes on d6, f6, king d3, king e8, king d4, king d7, king c5, and we are able to protect the pawn. If he doesn't play f6, but moves the king immediately, then e5, and we have a protected passed pawn. Then our king goes to e4. And then, of course, this pawn endgame is absolutely winning because of extra pawn and especially passed pawn.
Okay, the king can even go to attack the a pawn. It's slower, but he means to.
A pawn? No. After you go to take the a pawn, you may blunder something in the center and allow him to create a distant pawn in the center. Okay, king e7 was played. Knight c4, king e6, king to d3, h5, knight d2, bishop e5, then knight b3 with the idea to get knight to d4, king d7, knight d4 anyway. The king has to stay there to protect the weakness on c6, bishop f6, king c4, bishop f5, a4. So this is the main plan, to create a distant passed pawn to distract his king. We can also advance the pawn and check the king to force it back, to the back rank. b5, c takes b5. And tell me how to react on bishop d4 move. If we take with the king, then a takes on b5 and black wins.
We just take the pawn on a6.
And if king c7?
We push it again. We push the pawn.
King b7.
And take the bishop.
And take the bishop. Okay, actually, I recommend here to take the bishop immediately, because then we have two extra pawns. Okay, fine. So bishop d4 doesn't work. Instead, a5 was played. Well, why not a takes on b5? Because then knight takes.
Excuse me?
Uh-huh.
Maxime just said that it keeps kicking him out.
Really?
He said he'll try to join next class.
Okay. But actually, as what I see, the webinar is enabled for participants, so anyone can join. Anyone using the link can join. So probably it's something with his software, probably. Okay, anyway, we are very close to finish the webinar. Okay, so if a takes b5, knight takes on b5, then we go to d5 and advance the pawn. If he plays this move, then we play knight d4 check. He goes back, then we go to d5. Any trades, like bishop knight trade, is in our favor, because this is how we pass the game into the pawn endgame. And then we want to play knight b5, then advance the pawn, come closer with the king, advance the pawn again, and give a check on a7, and finally promote our pawn. So this is the winning plan. That's why black played a5. Knight
That's what I was thinking
attacking. Knight c6 attacking the pawn, a4, and after king b4, he resigned. Bishop e7 doesn't work, we just trade. And we can stop the a4 pawn. With two extra pawn, it's winning with no chances. Okay, so actually this, it was not about the end game. It was about weak square complex. For example, if you remember in the previous game, we use our light squared bishop to penetrate into his weaknesses. because we created several light squares that became later weak. As for this position, we noticed that these two are weaknesses, and then we played c5 to control them, and then we use these two squares like outposts for our pieces. So our original idea was to get our knights there, like this here, you see, because our knights are much better when they are on b6 and d6. Moreover, we have more space and it's difficult to play for black. So this is how you should think when it comes to weak squares complex.
It's interesting also because when you have this many pieces on the board, especially knights, I would think black would try to exchange those immediately, but the way that white played was really good. He never had a chance to exchange them. He had so many pieces that he could exchange for those knights.
Yeah, so actually our task in such positions, our task is to win a pawn, one of the pawn weaknesses, or maybe find the tactical strike that can help us to trade our knight for a rook. Okay, so let me give you an exercise. We're finished with this game.
Okay.
Just wait a second, I'll give you an exercise.
So all of these videos go on YouTube?
Yes,
I can rewatch them?
I have a stream on no, I have a stream on Facebook. Oh, actually everyone can watch.
You have a channel on YouTube, so I think it's there.
Yeah, then it goes to YouTube. But first stream goes to Facebook.
Okay. You have Facebook?
Yeah. I have a group on Facebook.
Okay.
I can give you the link after the webinar. Also, Vadim, I would like to talk to you after the webinar. So is it possible to have a Skype call after we finish?
Sure.
Okay. Wait a second. I'm loading it. So it's white to move. How would you play? It's about squares complex weakness. But in this position, there is a concrete move.
Okay.
Okay, so I give you this puzzle as the homework. So you can picture it. You can just open the record of this webinar, and then just by looking at the screen, try to find something. So on the next lesson, we'll discuss this position, and I want you to suggest the best moves that can help you to win in this position. Maybe you can win the material, maybe it's just
This
a
is an
positional
interesting
advantage.
position.
Yes, white dominates here, but it's not obvious how to continue. Okay, anyway, so I'm stopping it. Wait a second. Okay, guys, do you have any questions?
Oh, I'm good. That was very interesting. Thank you.
Okay. If you have any other suggestions
learned a
about
lot.
if you have any other suggestions about our new webinars, especially about topics, what you want me to cover, maybe some openings, maybe some ideas, maybe end games, just you can always send your suggestions by Skype or share on Facebook or on YouTube by just sending a comment. Okay, thank you for coming. That's all for today.
All right. Thank you, Viktor.